Wait. What's up, everybody? I'm trying not to laugh here. I'm trying not to laugh. I'm trying to review the Joker movie that just came out by Warner Brothers Films. And thank you guys for joining right now. I am your host, Awesome Nobody, and this is the Movie Guru podcast. And we're talking about jokes and jokes and jokes today. Basically, more so from the movie that just came out called the actual Joker. That there's been tons and tons of buzz about. Everybody's been talking about it. People have been go to see it. It's all type of records been breaking, and it's actually a hot thing right now. For some reason, October just turned into the biggest movie month. This summer, I guess everybody wanted to get out the way until all that Avengers stuff was done, and make sure they didn't get caught on a weekend that they had a re-release. So we kind of just let it go. And then now I guess October is the time because everybody's hitting hard. I mean, there's Will Smith movies, Gemini Man. They dropped the Joker, DC. I mean, it's just big month right now for October. Zombieland 2 is coming back, and just a whole bunch of other stuff is popping off. I mean, I guess honestly, Halloween is always a big month for movies. But with Halloween and October, and so, but I saw it yesterday. I saw the Joker movies. I'm a little late. I mean, I like to wait, because I'm in no rush. I mean, if you understand the details in the reviews, you're gonna wait for your specific person to do your reviews. But I watch a lot of other reviews and get info from them too, and I think that's important. So but here's mine. This is my take. I think I'll bring something different to it. So I'll talk in this one a little bit of like who is the Joker from my perspective, other movies that he was in, and maybe compare to some other characters, because this was a real, I would say, they say live action. This was like a real live action film. This wasn't like hyped up comic book movie. This had no cartoon crap in it. It was straight, live. It was straight live action drama, dramatic psycho thriller, and that's what it was. I mean, honestly, I would say right now the top psycho thriller, of course, and It Too. I mean, I don't think this even compares. I mean, It just has I'm sure a whole nother level of action to it that this movie didn't take to it. I mean, this was just for hardcore fans that for some reason caught on, and normal people who didn't even know it was a Joker movie thought it was some Batman movie, were taking their kids and stuff and then being upset when it just turned into a freak show. And that was the movie. It was directed by Todd Phillips, who surprisingly, he's more known for his comedy than anything. He's a straight up comedian. I mean, if you look at his other films, I mean, I got the list here. He did Road Trip, which was honestly a lot of people's first introduction to comedy. He did Old School, right, which was another comedy, another groundbreaking comedy, and then The Hangover. I mean, so he just been nothing but jokes and jokes and jokes, So, he did this movie, and this movie wasn't funny at all, even though it was, I want to say, crowned a comedy to be funny, the Joker, right? But it wasn't funny at all. But it's funny guy for a funny movie, so to speak. But and I guess it had its moments, and I hesitated on that because it had to come from the music. Like when something's about to happen, they change the music, and all that stuff. So that's one thing that happened there. But starring Joaquin Phoenix, Robert De Niro, and I think the Robert De Niro was added last minute because I honestly didn't know Robert De Niro was in there until the film came out. It just really seemed like everybody was talking about Joaquin Phoenix. And then if you guys are fans of Atlanta had the girl Zazie Beetz. She sounds like a daggone DJ or producer to me. Like she's about to make some beats or something, some music. But she's an actress, and she was in the movie, and it was small cast and random and some big scenes, but it was more of a self journey. I mean, I wanted to list some other movies that were similar to this. Have you guys ever seen the movie Falling Down? And I wanted to watch the trailer and go into it. So I'll back up a little bit. Let's get into the trailer. as far as the Joker movie. So here it is, the Joker. Look how dramatic this is. Normal. They gave him such a great sense of being normal. But he wasn't that at all. Definitely looks like he's in that laugh, man. That laugh is crazy.
This is the last time we'll be meeting.
You don't listen, do you?
He's had a therapist his whole life.
You just ask the same questions every week.
Yo, I was actually impressed on how he was running in those big floppy clown shoes, but I guess he ties them up tight, as you saw.
All I have are negative thoughts.
Dang. It's like a little Marvel right there. The key is secret. I'm always angry.
When I was a little boy and told people I was going to be a comedian, everyone laughed.
Yeah, this is funny to me because he went viral before actually being viral. He went so viral, he went to a comedy show, and then actually got basically pulled on Robert De Niro's show, which was basically like Johnny Carson. Thomas Wayne, the Zazie Beetz. The paint on the tongue was crazy. See, here it is, him dancing on the steps.
I didn't know if I even really existed. But I do.
Wow.
People are starting to notice.
They are. So the only, some of the things I feel like in the movie were a little weird. I'll talk about it, but as you can see, yo, he was really running and getting away from people like he wasn't even fast. I saw a little pop-up that says, "Are you experiencing interruptions?" Yes, I am. I know why, because I'm trying to do something.
Murray, one small thing.
Yeah.
When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
That's Joker, boy. He was full in it. Yeah, it's no problem. Yeah, how mad do you have to be to go in an alley and just start smashing garbage cans?
Send in the clown.
Yo, he went all the way in. So let's take it back now. So I'll go down some scene breakdowns here. So I'm doing two things right now. I'm doing a video. So if you guys are on my YouTube at movie_guru podcast reviews, you can see this, and then I'll upload this to the Movie Guru podcast where you can hear this. All right. So I'm trying to connect the two more. And then if you want to just follow my personal pages at AwesomeNOBDY, Twitter, and then Instagram, Awesome Nobody. So here it is. So this is, to me, supposed to be Gotham City, right? But the only thing that I see that resembles Gotham is the Thruway, right? I mean, they always had this Thruway, and then, when I say Thruway, I mean the train, the center train, which is pretty much New York. I mean, The Dark Knight, I feel like it was a combination of New York and Pittsburgh, and the reason why I know because I was actually in Pittsburgh at the time, and I was in Pittsburgh at the time, and they were casting calls at one of the football games. They set up a football game, and they had Hines Ward, who was on the Steelers, run in the field, was like blown up after they sunk the football field. So I knew they was in Pittsburgh, but this was always Gotham City's breakdown. So I guess this is that huge industrial area on the side here, and then the main city. And different variations had larger L trains or smaller L trains. So let's see what else they have here. So he's on a train. It looked like the train is moving, but then they go to him on a bus. So he's here on a bus now. It looks like riding through, going to work. This was actually a funny scene. So he's messing with the boy. The boy just turned out of nowhere, and the lady's like, "Please stop messing with my son." I mean, she's kind of right. I mean, that's why I don't mess with kids at all. I'm like, if a kid comes up to me smiling, I just keep it pushing because that stuff can get taken out of context real quick. I think the disfigurement. Here's that laugh. That he definitely had the laugh. He had the Mark Hamill laugh down from the Batman animated series. That's more so how I want to say the Joker laughed. I'm trying to think like Heath Ledger, his Joker. Had a more cryptic laugh. Why so serious? But this guy had more of a laugh that was more louder and piercing, which seemed just as menacing. And it was a good scene too when he was in the club and he was laughing at the jokes because he wasn't laughing on time with other people. So it was kind of like you could see that he found different things funny that other people didn't find funny. So he was laughing after people laugh. So the whole crowd laughs, they stop, and he starts doing that cryptic laugh. Like like it gets louder and louder as he's not trying to laugh. Let's see what else. Now this woman, now we all saw the movie. At this point, everybody saw the movie, and this is spoilers. I need to connect the dots because to see if this was the same therapist that came later, and I'll talk about that later. But there was definitely a part where there was a therapist. There's definitely a part where the therapist, basically leads into the Harley Quinn role because it looks like he's had a therapist his whole life. And I was trying to figure out the last few scenes where he's meeting with the therapist, and he leaves, and he's walking out, and he's he's basically walking with the blood on his footsteps, and I'm assuming that means that he killed the therapist. And if he killed the therapist, that means that that he'll possibly get another therapist, and that could possibly new therapist could be Harley Quinn. So we have to figure that out. If that was it. But no violence. Some other things that the movie didn't touch down on. Let's see, was no violence. I mean, other iterations of the Joker, basically put him as, I want to say, a low-level criminal in an organization, and then working for somebody, and then that's how he ended up robbing the Waynes, and then getting the jewels, and then ended up killing Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne, and then that's what caused little Bruce Wayne to become the Batman. So then they always say, have this paradox about who created who. Did Batman create the Joker create the Batman? And then because there's other times where it wasn't the Joker who killed his parents, it was somebody else. I believe the character's name is Joe Chill, and it was Joe Chill who killed his parents, and then that is what did it. And then he became Batman, and then because the Joker, whose life runs the same timeline, saw Batman come out with a mask, so he came out with a mask. So some people were saying like that is how it happened, but this took the whole movie and made everything different. I mean, it basically said that he was Batman. He was Thomas Wayne, which is Bruce Wayne's father. Bruce Wayne, Batman's father's son, right? Through his mother, who worked for Thomas Wayne, and she was always writing Thomas Wayne these letters, and she was saying that he was going to help him, and she just knew he would. And I guess she wrote a letter and never heard back. So she wrote another one and asked him to mail it, but this time he decided to open the letter. And in the letter was where he saw her say, that he was Thomas Wayne's son. So this guy goes to the Bruce Wayne manor and starts, basically being a creep like he always is, right? Just being crazy, and it's weird, but that was a twist. I did not expect that type of twist, to happen, as far as him going to, the manor and like basically talking through the fence and trying to explain to the boy like, hey, I'm your brother, we're related. And they're like, boy, you crazy? They're like, boy, you crazy? You're not related to anybody over here. Do I have to call the cops? And so that was an interesting take that I saw. So like I said, there was three versions of the Joker. One where he killed the parents, one where he didn't, and Batman made him become the Joker. And this one, he basically was Bruce Wayne's brother. So that was different. I mean, DC movies always, do like a great job with their animation. And in one animation, he was basically I'm trying to think. Oh, it was called under the was it Red Hood, or yeah, I think it was called Red Hood. And in that story, you see him being like a clown comedian, and then he got into some money problems. Let me see if I can find that trailer. Got into the some money problems, and put this Red Hood on, and then ended up. Oh, it's called The Killing Joke. Sorry, it's called The Killing Joke. I said Red Hood. Red Hood was a whole something. Don't even get me started on Red Hood, because I messed with Jason Todd. But yeah, so it was A Killing Joke, and it's 3 years ago, and this was the one where he came out, where it showed you basically some of the stuff that they were showing you in the Joker movie was basically a live action version of this one, The Killing Joke. But it just didn't have the up to date info, right? Like, it was basically two timelines running together. This just gave you the one timeline, which was Joker's, which was, him basically acting up. And I'm gonna actually play this for a little bit too. I know it's kind of hard to hear, but I'll break it down. So here we got Batman going to Arkham. I can just imagine the Joker being in his cell. I'm sure the Joker had to be in his cell for years and years and years. Like, I know we always see him like out and about, but I'm sure, like, you know what I'm saying? If you say the whole Batman, young Batman starts to when he retires is, let's say, 30 years. I would honestly say the Joker probably only had been out of jail 4 times, right? Maybe 4 or 5 times. I don't know how long. So if 4 or 5 times, he's probably been in jail 18 years and escaped and gotten away for maybe, what is that, 9 years he was out, really? That's why people say crime don't pay. So he went on a 9-year spree for 18 years locked up in a room playing solitaire.
About you and me. About how this is going to end.
But yeah, he ended it for sure.
Perhaps you'll kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps I'll kill you.
I would say this was definitely Batman at his darkest.
Don't you?
He was bugging, full bug. He was bugging in this one. So here's the Red Hood stuff after he fell into the stuff.
Tell me what I'm doing here. You're going mad.
When I say stuff, I just meant the chemicals. Now, and that's another thing that the current Joker movie showed, that he was crazy without falling into the chemicals, because another variation always shows the Joker being crazy after falling into the chemicals. But and that's kind of what the Killing Joke did. Like, you kind of saw him at the scene. Let me see if I can bring it back. This scene, I don't want to give all the movie away, but you see this scene was after he fell into the chemicals and came out like that. And even in the original 1989 Batman, Tim Burton, he was crazy. He was a goon, a thug, and he fell into the chemicals and came out like this, right? And so that was different variations of it. But this was a really good. Well, I don't want to say it was really good. It was kind of the most controversial, and they focused on that. I guess their thing is quantity over quality to a certain extent. I mean, I guess they're always going to hit on quality, but The Killing Joke honestly only had like a couple good scenes. The rest of it was just like so slow. And I'm, like I said, I'm assuming at this point you guys have already seen it. But The Killing Joke, he shot Batgirl, and she later put her in a wheelchair. She didn't die. Then she became the Oracle. And then when she became the Oracle, found out that her and Batman had a little relationship, and he was beating it up, like they were making love and all that stuff. And then, Batman basically finishes the job with, no, he doesn't. He comes to the end and he tells him a joke, and he just laughs, and that was it. Assuming that it just continued their feud. But I wanted them to show some of the scenes of the Joker as the Red Hood, but they didn't. But same thing. He got some money problems. He basically, was running from the guys. They chased him into the warehouse, and Batman got involved, and that's how he fell into the chemicals. So there's so many different variations of the Joker, but I think that they kept it to really ground level and start. I mean, it was such a huge movie. They did add some things. I mean, some things we already knew. We knew that he was a clown for real. He was the spirit of Bozo. No, he wasn't the spirit of Bozo. That's the people out here in the real world. He wasn't the spirit of Bozo. But we knew he was a clown. and then clown comic. I guess that's important too. Let's see what the movie added. The movie added a whole bunch of other stuff. The movie added like the Thomas Wayne paradox. That was something new that they added. And so when I say the Thomas Wayne paradox, I mean that him the possibility that him being Thomas Wayne's son. Now, for a second, I didn't think that that was actually could be true. But then, so they brought it up from the crazy mother, and then they dismissed it, right? And then they brought it up from the mother. He believed it. Then they dismissed it, and then he, just sort of went back out there and had a new look on life. But then they showed a picture of the mother being young, and then they showed that, it might have been true because the picture was signed by Thomas Wayne. So then it gave it this whole up and down paradox, like could have possibly been true, So, and honestly, she could have in the picture she looked pretty normal, and power manipulation. They could have gave her something to mess her up and discredit. Oh, there it is. Look, there he is. I missed it. While I'm watching this extended trailer, there he is. There's all the different variations. That's him with the red hood. Actually, that would have been dope for Comic-Con this year, the red hood. But anyway, so that was one variation of it, and I thought that was interesting. They changed that a little bit. I never heard that perspective before. Because I mean, could you imagine that? I mean, it's basically like, two opposite sides. I mean, that's honestly two people. You've got the Joker and Batman, synonymous, two sides of a coin, good and evil. I mean, it even goes deeper to other, movies and stuff like that. You've got Goku, Vegeta, or something like that. You've got, I'm trying to think, just two variations opposite, good and bad. Also the movie added him, the Joker, seeing his actual mother, because we didn't even knew he had a family, and even in the Killing Joke, it was a family. He had a wife and a kid, and I guess also in this they separated that. So in the Killing Joke, he had a wife and a kid they had to take care of, but then in this one they separated and they had the Zazie Beetz character, and she had a kid, so that was kind of like his family. But I mean, you could kind of say like that makes sense. Like maybe it really wasn't his family. Maybe it was just his mind, because he always was crazy when anybody have honestly really loved him. It could have just been you're living in close quarters. You see people every day, like, and then neighbors help out and stuff when you're on the same floor, So if it was in a small apartment, maybe he was, doing something small like helping her with her groceries or opening doors, and he's like, man, that's my family. When he's crazy, he's bat shit crazy. Excuse my language, but that's what he was. The movie added his indirect cause of Batman's parents' death. I was saying how some had him as a trigger man, some had him as, influence, some had him as, so this kind of had him as influenced. The other thing the movie added, and I said this before, was the Joker being this crazy without, the vat of chemicals. I mean, how crazy was he here on this, killing all those people, and then later he's going to fall into the chemicals, So then he's going to even be, I guess that's what caused him to go super crazy. I mean, everything reacts to us differently. They say people with different body scents spray cologne on, it smells differently. And some of the pills and the food we eat, the hormones affect us differently because all our body chemicals, our makeup is different. Like, they say, not even bringing another character in here, but like, let's say the Hulk. If somebody else besides Bruce Banner was subjected to that level of radiation, they probably would have just died instead of becoming this, superhero or super character, So there's a lot that goes into that stuff that we don't think about. And I guess whatever was wrong with him matched perfectly with whatever was wrong in that chemical vat. Now, if they're mixing open chemicals, that means that's an early mix, right? That's not even close to a finished product. So I know they were at an Ace Chemical or something like that, and whatever they were making, like that was early mix. So that was basically like, all the acids are wrong, the initial chemicals. And, you got to be careful with that because, even bleach and some other stuff mixed for a floor cleaner can turn to, poison gas. So you got to be careful what you mix initially and what percentages. What the movie left out, I'm going to put this back on. The movie left out, Harley Quinn, but I'm guessing the black woman, that's why I said I tried to find out the footsteps for the black woman. I'm guessing the black woman was, his therapist, and now that she's dead, spoiler alert, that she's dead, I'm sure that Harley Quinn will come in if they make a sequel. And they, like I said, they left out the Red Hood, and any gang affiliation, and then the techno grunge, even the city. To me, it just looked like the '74, but I guess there wasn't tons of super criminals here. So this goes back into the mythos, like, if Batman had never came out, would the city have stayed the same? But is it because that Batman came out, the city went crazy? I mean, my overall thoughts, I honestly just think that, it was masterfully done. I mean, it looked good. There was great cinematography, slow motion scenes. It had a great character development. You actually wanted to see what was going to happen to this guy. But, I mean, it wasn't a blockbuster. They were trying to make it sound like, oh, the best movie of the year. I mean, they basically sold this movie off of the hype of possibly connecting with Batman. People love Batman. Slow motion scenes and face paint. They sold the whole movie off that. They didn't. I mean, they basically gave you Gotham TV show with this movie. But I mean, listen. I watch all movies, not just some. And the Joker character, there's huge hype around it, and that comes from, just the character himself and Heath Ledger, and Joaquin Phoenix being another method actor, and I believe that that alone is what propelled it to the forefront. I mean, I feel like Heath Ledger has been preparing for this role for a long time. The last couple movies he had were pretty much the same. I mean, I'm trying to find. I had wrote them down. The other movies, what was it called? Just Heath Ledger movies, the same, where it's the same character, like alone, depressed, kind of crazy. That seems to be this guy Joaquin Phoenix thing. But anyway, I really liked it. I mean, I feel like I could have waited until cable. I mean, it wasn't no rush. It wasn't like I went to the movies, paid my $50 or whatever it is now, and witnessed this action thriller from nonstop to end. It was like, I mean, it was interesting to watch. But I could have 100% waited until, I was home or it was on cable. Other movies I prefer to watch that are very similar. I mean, look, you got American Psycho, you got the Taxi Driver. To me, Taxi Driver is almost the same movie. Just this movie just didn't have a taxi. You're talking about the Joker. The House That Jack Built, that was actually pretty psycho too. I mean, that could be inside the mind of the Joker because he was going crazy. Another movie that was so crazy and so psychological that I had to stop watching it as a kid, which was the original Jacob's Ladder. Now that was just aggressive. It was psycho aggressive. Black Swan, Misery, Seven. To me, Seven was psycho thriller to the max. No Country for Old Men, and that was psycho killer to the max. That was to the max. And then Creep actually, I watched it one night, just nothing else on, and watched Creep and was blown away. Like, wow, this movie is crazy. I mean, as far as being a psycho, the Joker. I mean, so there's other characters and movies that these people are very similar. I mean, in a film that was definitely origin story. No action origin stories usually keep you back coming wanting more. Didn't tie in at all with the current Batman movies, but they are coming out with a movie, The Batman, with the guy Patterson. I can't remember his first name, but he's definitely, they're going to do something with that. And then my views on that is pretty much like Batman Year One. I mean, they show him in the suit, but they didn't actually say that they was going to have him in the suit. I feel like it's going to be like Batman Year One, if you're familiar with the comics. Actually, let me see if I can bring that up real quick. Batman Year One. So to me, Batman Year One is basically a breakdown of what happens, exactly after when his parents die and what he does after, coming back from abroad, right? Let me see if I can find a trailer. Batman Year One trailer. Let me see. Let me go. But I actually bought one of the games, and this came as here it is. Came as a part of it. But yeah, I mean, I see that's what that is, and then Joker's not even in there. But I brought that up is because let's say, like I said, they like to merge movies and stuff. So let's say they do a Joker Part 2, or the Batman, they make it year one as far as Batman, and then they add Joe Chill character in there, right? Joe Chill was supposed to be the trigger man that killed his parents, Thomas Wayne, Martha Wayne, and then they do combine year one, year two as well. Let's say they make, then they come back with the Joker and then they put Joe Chill in that one, and that'll be the tie-in, where they have him meet Harley Quinn, him going through his psychological training, and then they have him, meeting Joe Chill and then getting into crime. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. It could be, and there's different versions too, where there's two people, one people. So who knows? Joe Chill could be, and then the Joker could be the second one. So there's a lot that they can go through, and this is what the Batman movie is going to be. Is going to be Batman Year One with Thomas Pedersen or whatever his name is from Twilight, and it was good. I liked it a lot. It to me, it went through a lot. It showed him in some early variations, like was things that got him to come up with putting on the suit. He tried to be an army vet at one point, where he just walk around beating up people dressed as an old tough army vet, which I thought was dope. And then, let me see what else was there here. Year two, I didn't actually see year two, but I've heard of it. It might only be comic form, might not be actually movie form. So I mean, I definitely think they're going to come out with a part two. I mean, it was a blockbuster movie. It broke all type of records. Joaquin Phoenix did a solid job. And they're going to come out with a part two because Warner has a lot of Warner has a lot of licenses for the characters in DC, so it's not like they're short on characters. I would actually like to see, here's a fan-made trailer for Year One. Let's see if they do. For the Batman. Oh, see, look, Batman Year One, fan-made. Already got Thomas Pedersen in it. I would like to see them bring Clayface into the series. So maybe if they did Batman Year One, they end with Thomas Pedersen or whatever his name is having to fight Clayface, or Croc. They basically brought the Croc character in the Suicide Squad, and they're doing a Suicide Squad Part 2. So whatever. But, I definitely can see them doing that and, making it a certain way. So, that, like I said, there were surprises with the cinematography. We always see him dancing on the steps, and it just looks amazing. It looks interesting. It definitely looks interesting. It could have had a little bit more action in it. It really didn't. And it could have just been a little bit more detailed as far as action. The trailer, so overall in all, if you're an uber fan of DC, watch some of the DC movies. If you're a uber fan of something else, as far as like the Joker, there's definitely DC movies to watch. I would even go as far as to watch, Killing Joke, if you want to see something else on the Joker, because honestly, after that, there's really nothing else to look. I didn't mind the Joker. I just saw a thing about the evolution of the Joker. I didn't mind the Joker from Suicide Squad. I thought that I would have been more current Joker. He was more like a mumble rapper Joker, with all the gold chains and the Bugattis and stuff. He was kind of bugging. But my favorite Joker, I would definitely say it would have to be between Heath Ledger. And, the crazy part about the Heath Ledger was that he really wasn't on camera for that long. He really was on TV for maybe I think it said 15 minutes the whole movie. I'm trying to think what else as far as that. Oh, little known fact in this movie. So Thomas Wayne is always a big character. And, the person who played Thomas Wayne was actually originally supposed to be played by Alec Baldwin. If you know his famous Baldwin family, and he was supposed to play Thomas Wayne. But there was also some other characters and people who played Thomas Wayne. Let's see. There was in the original Batman 1989. There was David Baxt, who in the history was killed by Jack Napier, who was aka the Joker. And he's who, when he killed him, he killed his family. So that's the Joker being directly responsible for killing Batman's family. and Joker was a thug and he was working for Carl Grissom. And then Batman Forever was different. That's when you see Michael Scranton, who played Thomas Wayne. Then you have in The Dark Knight, you have Linus Roach, who was killed by Joe Chill, so that was the gang member. And then Batman vs Superman, we have Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who played Thomas Wayne. You know, so the Joker movie really came and went. I would say definitely came, broke all type of records, and it was a cash grab. It wasn't action. It wasn't even satisfying. There was no after end credit scene. It just kind of was another film in the cycle. Do I think it's memorable? Yes, I do. Do I think it will be remembered forever? No. I think that there was a good attempt to keep some buzz into the DC, you know, DC in the DC universe, but I don't think that it's going to be the best version of the Joker ever. I'm definitely not going to say that. So anyway, I just want to get at you guys and play a little bit of Joker stuff and let you guys see where I'm coming from and talk about some stuff, because the Joker movie was good. I would say just wait until it comes on cable, see what's available now, and you know, just do your math on that. You probably can honestly now, like I'm watching the evolution of Joker on YouTube, you could just do that and be all caught up and then make a decision. Jack Nicholson did a great job for the original Batman. To me, he more looked like the Joker without you know, any type of face makeup or anything. But he you know, he didn't don the laugh. I think as far as Joker laugh, of course Mark Hamill, who has the best Joker laugh, but I would say Joaquin Phoenix did a good job with the Joker laugh. Everybody else had more of a slower laugh, but the comics always had more of a louder, super loud laugh. What is this one? I don't remember what this one is. It's like I said, I am Awesome Nobody. This is the Movie Guru, and I'm watching basically breakdown of the Joker movie, and now we're at the point where we're watching different characters that played the Joker, and we're up to The Dark Knight in 2008. And gave my review, basically let you guys know what I think of the movie. Let me know what you guys think. You know, whether it's on the comments or whether it's just, you know, tweeting me. You can tweet me at movie_guru podcast or at awesome_nobody. So yeah, that's it. So thanks for listening, guys. This has been another episode of my trailer reviews. So listen, go see the movie. Let me know what you think. Take care and stay awesome. Peace.